Hello, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk Raptors. I'm your host, Ehtisham, my channel where you get reviews, analysis, predictions, and hot takes on all things Raptors as well as some NBA. So, the Raptors had their fifth game against the Indiana Pacers at home today. So, without further ado, let's talk Raptors against Indiana Pacers. So, it was meant to be, man. It was actually meant to be. The last time the Raptors won at home was against Indiana before the shutdown and everything like that. And the Raptors won today against Indiana, which they said was about 600 days or so since coming back home, since being home actually. And the Raptors win today, 118 to 100. And I guess the Raptors were just losing so they can set up this storyline of winning against Indiana and all that. But no, the Raptors lost because of certain reasons, which I reviewed in the last, analysis of the games. But today, there's not much of a summary I can give about the game. The Raptors, did a great job today. I think they played the most all-around good game. They were on point on defense. There was only a little bit of lull in the second quarter where defense was a little bit, not great, and it kind of allowed Malcolm Brogdon to kind of go off. Indiana took like a 2-3 point lead. Nick Nurse calls a timeout. We come back to our normal defense oriented schemes and defense minded, and it led to transition buckets and everything like that. The Raptors pretty much led throughout the game. And in the third quarter, Scotty Barnes just goes off for like 8-10 points in that quarter. He had nothing going on in the first half. And by the fourth quarter, it's pretty much a blowout. The Raptors, they cut it down to about 10, and then Freddie goes off for, he gets a layup, then he gets some mid-range, he puts it back up to 14, and then it's pretty much over from there. So there wasn't much in regards to that. I will get to highlight certain players that, they were freaking amazing later on. But the key takeaways I had from this game, number one, is defense. The Raptors coming into this game were ranked number 6 in defensive efficiency in the league, which is great, right? And it showed today. Whenever other than the second quarter lull, the Raptors played great defense, and it showed by their ending stats. I think it was the starting of the fourth quarter, we had 23 points off of turnovers. Right, we had, I think it was 28 points off of second chance points, which comes on the offensive end, but that's actually part of the energy that the Raptors had from their defense transitioning onto their offense. We had them turn over 20 times compared to our 10 times. So the Raptors took care of the ball today, and that kind of led to us, playing an all-around good game. The Raptors had 18 steals. That's unreal, man. 18 steals. OG had 5 of them by halftime. And then, it was the Raptors. The second key takeaway was coming to the game, we were struggling with three-point shooting. I still think we are struggling with three-point shooting, especially the guys that, we know are capable of shooting it, like Gary Trent, Chris Boucher. They aren't doing that well from the three-point line, but we did pretty good today. We were 46%. But that's still a small issue that I see. Today we took better three-point shots. So that's why we ended up shooting a better percentage on them, and Freddie kind of had a better all-around game, and I'll get to him as well. The third key takeaway I had was that whenever OG plays at the small forward position, he is more offensively efficient as well as more of an offensive weapon. Today he had 16 points in the first quarter because why? Nick Nurse, instead of starting him on a big body of a power forward, put him on the small forward and let Scotty Barnes take the power forward on the defensive side. So that allowed OG to have the energy to get to the bucket, body people up on the offensive end. He kept getting to the bucket. He was a problem. They had to check in OJ Brissett just to try to defend him, and he still, bodied the shit out of him. So that's a key takeaway, that OG should be playing in small forward position. I know that Pascal is injured, and that's maybe why OG was put on them, but he shouldn't be guarding bigger guys unless it's absolutely necessary. When you have guys like Scotty Barnes, when you have guys like Precious Achiuwa to do that job for you, you can play Precious Achiuwa and Khem Birch together if you need to in order to ensure that OG stays on the small forward side. we did the fourth key takeaway I have here is that this that the Raptors played better half court offense. There was more of a ball handler making decision. People were constantly cutting into the paint, cutting from the corners, and that led to a lot of buckets, defensive breakdowns on Indiana Pacers side, and that led to us getting more points on the buckets, getting more open shots and 3 points, and we were actually making them. So it turned out to be pretty good for the Raptors at that point. Another key takeaway was Gary Trent Jr.'s defense. His offense is struggling. I get it. People are going to be all over him, but his defense is damn good. He is a pest. He reminds me kind of like Patrick Beverley, who is a shit offensive player, and Gary Trent is nowhere near his bull crap of our offensive game. But defensively, Gary Trent is on that floor right now because he is playing the most energetic, most pesky, most annoying defense. He's deflecting the ball, he's stealing the ball, he's doing everything well. So I'm loving what Gary Trent is bringing on the defensive end, and eventually his offense will kick in. Once a little bit of everything gets settled. The another key takeaway was basically Freddie is kind of doing very well now in the trying to get everybody else going and then getting his buckets, which made him very efficient today. I think he has 26 points today off of 10 of 18 shooting, which is very efficient. He also had assists. He had he was getting the floor, getting people to on the floor to do things that they gets them in the game. Let me see here his stats. Yeah, and he had 10 rebounds, which were out of them were 4 were offensive rebounds. For a tiny guy to be doing that, that is great. And it was good to see that Freddie was taking that responsibility on himself to be the guy, right? That's carrying this roster and trying to be efficient at the same time. Let me get to these highlights. So there was this damn good play where I think it was in the third quarter where Scotty's facing back and I think it's Jackson defending him. He turns the corner and it is a left hand jam like in between two defenders, and it's just like, wow, Scotty. Once he gets his offense going, this guy can get to the bucket like nobody can stop him. He's really, really good at that. Another play was basically Mihailuk. There was this inbound, basically a tip-off because, Chris Boucher and the offensive player got into it and they held the ball. So basically Chris Boucher tips it, but then the Indiana Pacers are about to grab it, but Mihailuk, steals it, goes down the court, two-hand jam right in their face. And that put us back up to 14 in the third quarter when they were trying to kind of like making a run at it. So those were the two highlights plays that I loved. There was other good plays as well, but those were the two, of course, dunks are freaking awesome. Let me talk about the most valuable players here. Okay. Number one, OG he's starting to become the consistent offensive player, so I don't consider him an MVP. Second, Freddie, same thing, becoming consistent, so you expect that from those guys. The MVP I would say today was Delano Banton. And I know I love Malachi Flynn, and I know a lot of people want him to get his chance, but Delano Banton has grabbed his chance by the balls and is running with it. Because that kid came into it, he was handling the ball, he was passing it very well, he brought the energy on the offensive end, and on the defense, he's smacking the ball out of, like he's blocking these tiny TJ McConnell, I think his name is. And it's just like he's grabbing this chance, and I feel bad for Malachi because he's losing this. But again, that's part of this whole business, right? And Delano Banton ended up with 10 points. I think it's 4 assists and 3 rebounds, and he did a freaking amazing job in his 16 minutes. So he was the most valuable player, in my opinion, for this game. And last but not least, the Raptors, what I see from the Raptors now is that it's a good sign that they're beating the teams that they should be beating. So that tells you this team is taking the right trajectory, right? If you weren't beating the teams you were supposed to be beating, then it would seem like we need to change change a lot of things. But no, we're doing that. And our bench kind of stepped up today too. We had the bench came up with 27 points, so it helped us out. And if they can continue to do that consistently, the Raptors have a good chance of winning going forward and ending the season at a pretty good, at least a 60% win percentage, in my opinion. Anyways, guys, that's all I have for you guys for this video. My prediction for the Orlando game is that the Raptors will win that game because Scotty Barnes is going to show Jalen Suggs why he was the number 4 pick. The score prediction, I would say the Raptors beat their ass by 120 to 94. Blowout, my opinion. Anyways, guys, that's all I have for you guys for this video. Please like, subscribe, and leave your comments and everything like that. And I will see you guys after the Orlando game on Friday. Have a great week.